Hey, how are y'all? I'm serving y'all soft film. Soft stud. How's everybody doing? Mm, good afternoon. Hey, what's y'all tea? Mm, it's too hot for wigs today. Oh, you over it? What you over it about? What's been going on? How are y'all? Thank you. This is my 80s retros. Oh, hey, cocoa butter. I am. Make me a little water cocktail. No alcohol tonight. I don't have any. I didn't make it to the store. So we're going to have water with some vitamin squeezed into it. Whatever this vitamin B3, B6, B12, and electrolytes in the grape flavor. Trump and his foolishness. Yes, I did hear about that. We will be talking about that on next Marsha's Plate. Yes. Oh, show the nails. Yes, I got some gay pride nails because I'm serving you lesbian, soft stud realness. Oh, just some plain Jane pride nails, nothing too much. Yes. I'm doing a pride event for Spotify. And I wanted to make sure that I was representing and in some kind of way. This tube top make my titties look huge. Boom. Well, it's not like they're small, but you know. Oh. Mm-hmm. And then this is my I ordered these online. They are some overalls, and they are super cute. Overalls don't really fit me well. Like, I don't know, something about them don't fit me well, but these fit so well. And I randomly ordered them from this site because they had them in my size. And I was like, oh, well, let me get these and get it popping. So did y'all watch Jane Roe? We're gonna get started in a couple of minutes just to Jane Roe, aka a mother Norma McCorvey. Oh man. I had a crazy day. Yeah, she flip-flopped more than a fish out of water, but she made sure that they ran her check. Amen. Is that a documentary on Netflix? I think it's a documentary on Hulu. I don't think it's on Netflix. I think it's Hulu. Yes, 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 yes. So, as you come in or as you watch this later when we're not live, we're live currently, of course. But if you watch this later when we're not live, make sure you thumbs up as you come in. All my kind of contact information is going to be in the bottom. So, you can follow me on Twitter, follow me everywhere you need to follow me and find out what I'm doing. And yeah, it's going to be all in the bottom. Before we get started with the meat of the conversation, yes, I will be doing a podcast event with Spotify. They are paying your girl really, really well. And yeah, it's all about pride, and they picked a couple of content creators to represent, and we will be doing that. Keep Z in your prayers. He had his surgery yesterday for his top surgery yesterday. And if you are a trans person, you absolutely know how important, or if you have gotten surgeries, you know how important surgeries are and how much of a milestone in your life those are. So he got his top surgery, and for a trans man, that means you got, this removed. For a trans woman, top surgery would be putting some stuff in or that kind of stuff. But he got, he got his top surgery done, and he is healing nicely. He is resting and doing well. It came out amazing. He enjoyed it from what I know, from what information we have talked about. But yes, of course, we will be talking. I think he's going to take a break from the show this coming week because he's recovering. But hey, welcome in, because he's recovering, and yeah, so happy for him. I just finished listening to Marsha's play. I hope Z comes through with the All Trans Man show. Absolutely. Yes, she is taking care of her man. Yes, and just like I said on the show, I have been pushing Z to curate an all trans man show, but these young whippersnappers are lazy. And I could have done it myself, but I do a lot of work with the podcast. I do a lot of all the promotional stuff, all the contacting people and getting sponsorship, and I do all of that work alone. Any of the behind the scenes stuff, I do. All they do is come one day a week and talk. come with a subject. But everything else I do, and that's okay because I enjoy my work. But hey, sis. But yes, I try to get them and inspire them to do things, but you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. And so yes, I have been trying to get him to do an all trans man show with his people, his folks. And so, yeah. Do I need an assistant? I can't afford to pay one right now. I can't afford to pay one right now. But when our goal on Patreon, if we reach our goal on Patreon, I will have enough income from the podcast to quit every job and just do the podcast full time and pay an assistant. So that's what we're trying to do. Make sure that our podcast is up and running. We are good now. But yeah, I can't afford an assistant right now. So I got to do all the work on my own. Yeah. I'm not really into doing free internships. I think internships are a scam. I hate people. I think internships should be paid. And if I create a position, I want to be able to pay them. a livable income for the amount of work that I would want them to do. Yeah. So I try to be the change that I want to see, and free internships are kind of, capitalistic, predatory, and capitalistic to me. They work the hell out of me. Yeah, internships. Yes, I think interns should be paid. Yeah. So how is everybody doing? Is everybody eating well and washing your tails and and drinking water and moisturizing your skin? All those kind of things. Hey, Tanisha, how are you? We're going to get started in about, let's see, wait. Oh, okay, we're going to get started now. So, what this episode is about, I have been telling y'all to watch the documentary. You still can follow the conversation um, about, it's called AKA Jane Roe, also known as Jane Roe. It's a documentary on Hulu. It is about Norma McCorvey. I guess that's how you spell her name, McCorvey, say her name. She is, she's a woman. She's from Louisiana. She was born in Louisiana, like Summerport, like around that area. And, she's all in this area, like Texas. She actually died here in Houston. Well, Katy, which is kind of like the suburb of Houston. She is the plaintiff. She's best known for her pseudonym, which is Jane Roe, and she is the plaintiff in the landmark American legal case Roe versus Wade, which is when the U.S. Supreme Court ruled in 1973 that individual state laws banning abortion were unconstitutional. So that made, abortions a legal act. And it made it, because during that time people were doing abortions in alleys and hotels and just unsafe conditions because there were multiple situations where somebody would need an abortion because either they got raped or they just was in a financial situation that they um, couldn't afford an abortion. One of the kind of negative things about the argument in early Roe versus Wade situations, particularly, for Jane Doe's thing, it was more about they kind of were pushing the if you were raped narrative. Now in 2020, we are in a conversation about reproductive justice in a way that it really doesn't matter if you was raped or not. It is your body, it is your choice. And if you're not in a position to have a child, then you get to decide because it's your body for whatever reason. It could be as simple as I don't want a baby. I don't need to have been raped. I don't need to have financial troubles. I don't need to have whatever. It could be, honey, I don't need to have not been on contraceptives or birth control. Whatever the reason, it doesn't matter. If I don't want a baby, I have the right, because it's in my body, to terminate my pregnancy, because this is a part of healthcare. This is what I want to do with my body. Thank you. Um, of course, because of that, there is an anti-abortion movement that is counter to that. And, most of it is religious, right wing. Not necessarily religious right wing. There's some moderate religious people and some left religious people that are pro-life as well. So, and stereotypically, both sides, one is pro-choice, one is pro-life. Pro-life is the conservative anti-abortion movement. Pro-choice is the more liberal. All of these have, if you had a Venn diagram, they got some overlay. Some people over here is pro-life, some people over here is pro-choice. So it just depends on, where you stand with it. In this particular documentary, it is sharing kind of her life, just like what she experienced growing up, what she experienced, circumstances that led to her needing an abortion for the first time. And actually, what's funny is she never actually had an abortion ever. Like, she was fighting to get one and she was a plaintiff for it. But she was fighting for the right to get one, but she never actually got an abortion ever, which is kind of ironic in the circuit in the scheme of things. You would think that she would have had one, but she actually never had an abortion, which is kind of wild. Um, she grew up. She was in, of course, sexually abusive and physically abusive situations with her first husband, with somebody that her mom was dating or whatever. She was early on in a queer relationship with a woman. Her name is Connie. Um, Jane Roe's real name is Norma. If I haven't said it, I think I've already said it. But Norma and Connie hit it off. She was kind of like she was like the bad girl of the town. Like if who she reminded me of, the way they described her, the way people were talking about her in the documentary. And I'm not looking at the chat yet. I'm kind of just talking, just to give just talk about in general. Then I'll go look at the chat. I'm looking at my notes. What Norma reminded me of was, if you remember the movie called Black Snake Moan, how everybody talked about that girl, the main character that Christina Ricci played, which I love Christina Ricci as actress. How they talked about her in that movie. She was like the bad girl. She was the hoe. She was the thief, the whatever. She was just the bad. Everybody in the town talked about her like she was, the black sheep. She was the Jezebel. She was, she just was the riffraff of the town. She was not the upstanding, wholesome girl, respectable girl. So Norma, when they talked about her, she reminded me that of her. Like she had that reputation in town, that she just was bad news. And so Connie met her at I think a gas station, and I guess she let her borrow her car or something about her car. And somebody was like, "Girl, you let that girl borrow your car, girl? You tripping. Like, she gonna fuck you over." But she didn't fuck her over. And so, this started like a friendship, and then it started lifelong love. And to me, in that part of the story, it was like, oh my God, these are some older white lesbians getting their life and blah, 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 blah. So eventually, because there's tons of stuff that happened in the middle, eventually the documentary goes into how activism within the pro-choice movement started to manifest. It started to manifest with having abortion clinics, and Jane became the star. She became the poster child of abortion. She would go to clinics. The anti-abortion people would, like, they were bombing clinics. Like, what's kind of crazy? Like, the right wing always talk about how the left and liberals are losing their mind. But when we talk about like crazy terrorist attacks in our country, or doing crazy shit, like from lynching to blowing up abortion clinics to blowing up buildings to shooting up, shooting up Pulse, this is the anniversary for that. June 12th is the anniversary of Pulse. Rest in peace, y'all. It is usually like right-wing leaning motherfuckers, or they might be on the down low, but it's usually the fundamental left, the fundamental right, the conservative people with conservative ideological point of views. It's usually those people that do crazy ass, senseless killings of people. So when they were bombing people. Was it 91? Or I can't remember what the exact year was. But they're bombing abortion clinics. They are, people are trying to go get their abortions. They got speakers up against the phone, you up against the fence. You don't have to do this. You don't have to be a murderer. You can stop right now. And it was just wild how crazy they went in regards to these abortions, like actually trying to kill the doctors, like doctors of these clinics, like literally killing and murdering them, trying to assassinate abortion doctors. I'm like, what? Y'all people are crazy. All in the name of this is my duty as a Christian to save the unborn child. Fast forward to 2020. They're not giving a damn about people's lives. The right wing, they have never given a damn about people's lives. They're condoning the the immigration people to be in cages, to be molested in these fucking immigration centers, to be raped and molested and kidnapped and sold off and adopted off and just totally exploited. You care about their lives in the womb, but once they get out, you don't give a care about them. You don't want to give them welfare. You don't want to give them assistance. You don't want to give every kind of social safety net for kids who are underprivileged. You want to take away, but you care about life before it actually comes out the pussy. That much that you would assassinate people. Does that make sense? That just seems like it's crazy and weird to me, and I don't understand it crazy. Yes. So they go through this whole portion of the documentary sharing, interviews with the priests, the anti-abortionist, like pastors and priests and, evangelists and ministers and just overall supporters. And they were sharing their experience. And there was a few of them that still was on the same bullshit. And it just seems like they were so performative too. Anyway, it seemed like they were all on that same bullshit, but it's a couple of them that have kind of shifted their view on abortion and stopped going so hard as they did back in Jane Roe's time, in Norma McCorvey's time. And so the big plot twist of the whole documentary is eventually, after being this champion for pro-life side of the coin when it comes to the argument of Roe, actually being the poster child, being actual Jane Roe in Roe versus Wade, she literally flips to the other side and goes Christian and goes pro-life and started sharing the opinion of the pro-choice, the pro-lifers. And so she would go and travel around and say she was wrong and say that, abortion is wrong. She is now a born again Christian, and she's no longer gay. She actually, just like a classic fuckboy move, a classic Christian fuckboy move, she actually leaves her girlfriend, Connie. Connie ended up passing away, but she actually moves out after living with Connie for years, actually moves out and goes to a whole other side and claims that she has cured her gayness. She's not gay anymore. And she is pro-life. And it stuns everybody. Everybody in, on the pro-choice side was like, what is she doing? This really uproots our whole movement. Not really, but it feels like that when your poster child just totally switches on you. Remember when the Can You Hear Me Now guy flipped over to T-Mobile instead of being with Sprint? or switch from T-Mobile and went to Sprint. I can't remember. That was a gag, the shade. But she flipped over and it gagged everybody. But also another plot twist of this particular episode, this particular documentary is a deathbed confession. where on the documentary she refers that, you know, during the interview shortly before she died, she said that she had been paid by anti-abortionist activism for the basically the remainder of her life, you know, and it had all been an act. Like, she learned and she hustled. She learned that this good side of activism, and bitch, I know what the T is on that. This good side of activism don't really have any money. But when I come over here to this Christian and get connected to these tides, they showed how much money Jane was making, Norma was making, and she was making like a 400K, over a 400K salary just by getting coins from talking and speaking and getting paid from the right wing pro-life people. So she learned that, oh, and as you can tell through the whole story, she never had privilege. She was never a person who was of coins. She was an addict. She was had been doing drugs. This was her hustle. Like, she said, oh my God, like, I can really flip this shit to be able to survive if I just say the right things. And we know so many people that are like this. They may not be getting 400K, but they'll say the right thing just to, you know, just to get a leg up. And so this is exactly what she did. She turned her anti-abortion activism, she turned who she was before, the pro-abortion woman, lesbian woman, into a hustle. And I love to see church folks get hustled. I personally love to see church folks get hustled when their hate and evilness is so horrible that it blinds them when somebody is hustling them. Oh, mwah, mwah, chef kiss, baby. I love it. And I love that this whole lesbian woman, I don't like that she sacrificed her relationship with Connie, because that was some fuckboy shit. I didn't like that. But the fact that she flipped it, and for the most of the end of her life, an uneducated woman was able to live quite well, get a house and have a place for her children and take care of her children, raise her children in this house, and live off the labor of, well, her own labor too, but live off the coin of the right wing, and then come at the end of her life and say, gotcha. Gotcha. Yeah, I'm about to go up out of here, but support abortion. All that shit was fake. All that shit was fake. I just needed to hustle them out of their coins. Let me show you how much money I got out of their ass so I could survive. I couldn't make that over here. They were these left pro-choicer. They want to bullshit and not give you no coins, honey. They want you to be doing the work for free. Honey, I know that life. They want you to do the work for free. But these evangelists, they want to give you a coin, baby. They want to give you the coin to make sure you preaching what they preaching. They business savvy over here because they've been sucking the congregation coins forever and tax free. Not worried about the government creeping in and taking their end. So they got the coins over here. So that's what she did. And so I thought that was amazing and beautiful. And that is the gist of Roe versus Wade and AKA Jane Doe. I thought that it was quite interesting learning about her, because I had watched another abortion conversation, and she was kind of not an afterthought, but they talked about her, but it didn't go into her story like this particularly did, in regards to like her upbringing, in regards to her history and her past and stuff like that. So I thought it was interesting. Did you hear about the news in the White House? They stripped some of the armrests. Yes, I will be talking about that on Marsha's Plate, definitely. That was the gag. Had all the kids and no abortion. Absolutely. I thought that was quite interesting. Kimmy Garcia, I heard something about that, but I'm not sure. I shared it on my Twitter. So if you're looking for some of the news articles about it, I shared it. Something about that, but I'm not sure how to find exactly what changed. How are you looking into it? There's some articles that I put on Twitter. I guess they're allowing insurers to discriminate and deny us access of certain things. Yes, they are allowing people to, on a religious basis, to say, we do not need to service trans folks. We do not need to insure trans surgeries and stuff like that. So yeah, it definitely is the top trending thing right now, and we will be talking about it on March's Plate. Absolutely. I'm going to have to look into that. Yes, 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 yes. Yes, the Verizon Sprint was in my feelings. Yeah, when he switched up, I was cackling. Yeah, I'm that guy from Do You Hear Me Now? Mm. So, what did y'all think of the documentary? And one of the things I know somebody who may be listening to this who are not familiar with, um, so not necessarily familiar. I know you would think, why is this important for a trans woman to kind of be talking about? That might be a question somebody might ask. Since we can't have children, I think it's important because a part of my politic is I believe that all oppression is connected. Okay? I think all oppression is connected. And I know that if the government steps in and makes decisions about the agency of a cisgender woman's assigned female at birth person choices about their body, if they can step in and make decisions about that, I know that eventually, if we let that happen, they can come over here and make decisions about our body and make decisions and choices and laws to affect what we can and cannot do with our body. Actually, we're discussing in the chat, the laws, those decisions like that. I know that all of that is connected. Like they're not giving us the freedom and the care to take care of our bodies. And I feel like healthcare, trans-based medical needs are healthcare for us. In the same way that I feel abortion and reproductive justice rights and procedures are healthcare for AFAB people. And even though I can't have a baby, I know there are trans men who can have babies. I know there are lesbians who can have babies, of course. I know there are cisgender women who can have babies, straight women who can have babies. I know that there's a non-binary folks that can have babies. And so with that being said, although it's not something that I have to worry about, it is something that is important to me to be an ally for, because I know that all oppression is connected, and if they go after them and the agents of their body, they'll come after me. Make sense? So I hope that explains why that this would be a subject that is important to me as a trans person. Yes. Let's see. If you're listening, make sure you thumbs up. What did y'all feel about Connie and Norma's relationship dissipating, like kind of going out? What was y'all feeling about her and how she did Connie? I didn't have time to catch the documentary, but I enjoy this discussion. This backstory is incredible. Yes. I loved it. I love the flip. I love that I've seen people do stuff like this, not to this grand of a scale. This was beautiful. Not to this grand of a scale, but I've seen people, go into church they're homeless and on drugs, and they just need something to eat or a place to stay, and they're coming into a church and they need the help, and so they're pretending to be saved. They're pretending to be respectable, coming in with their clothes, with their church, the best Sunday's best on, and they're pretending just to get resources that the church might give. Um, yeah, I've seen this many a times, and I've seen it in other scenarios where they're just playing the system. I'm just playing the system so it can work for me. I know that abortion is a cash cow. There are a lot of funders and donors who love to donate to these type of polarizing and galvanizing political issues like abortion. There's tons of people out there on the right wing and the left wing that's ready to donate. More so on the right wing because they have the church behind them. Ooh. I didn't have the. I could tell Connie was heartbroken. She was definitely hurt. But like you said, Norma was on her fuckboy shit. Yeah, she was definitely hurt. And yeah, and I would have been like, well, um why didn't she tell Connie like, yo, I'm trying to hustle this money? But I think part of it was a hustle. This is me thinking. I think part of it was a hustle, but also part of it was I may just want a new type of life. Maybe not be straight. But this struggle life over here on this lesbian shit in this house with you, this struggle life, when I see this cash cow over here, when I see what's going on over there, I think she was looking for a better life, particularly for her children, instead of growing up in this little kind of this situation with Connie. I feel like she was like, oh, I can get a house over here. I can get some stuff for my kids. So it might have been a hustle, to get the coin, but wanting to leave Connie. I think that's what I think she wanted to do that too, because it wasn't a lucrative or a comfortable situation with Connie. It didn't seem like it. What did y'all think about when this was a gag? When they showed the right wingers and the left wing activists, the right wing and the left wing activists, when they showed them um, the video of her saying, I really don't believe this. I just was working them for their money. What did y'all? Their responses? I was over here cackling. That priest and that Karen, I don't know her name, but the Karen on the pro-choice side that was like, she gave her old Maya Angelou hard side cry, like the stakes were so high. The stakes were so high. Why would you? She started crying, and Norma was over there. Bitch, I'm trying to make my coins, and y'all was not giving me the coins that I needed. And then the one priest was like, "Oh yeah, she got us because we gave her a lot of money." The one that was sitting on that couch. Um, no, he wasn't sitting on that couch. He was like sitting in front of like a fireplace or something. The one with the dark hair, not the loud one, not the loud Billy Graham type motherfucker. I hated him. But the one with the dark hair, he was like, "Yeah, she got us." Hey, Coco Princess. It was like, "Hey, she got us." And then the other was trying to pretend like, no, she wasn't telling the truth. She didn't get us. Girl, she told y'all she got you. She got your coin. It was annoying that they got to speak at her funeral. I didn't like that because if I was her kids, I wouldn't have let them speak at my mama's funeral, especially if she already done said she don't really fuck with y'all. She just was using y'all for y'all coins. Honey. Karen with the salad, yes, with the salad, Jesse Raphael's, yes. Yes, her. She was the one that was really, really hurt by it. And I think I would have been like her. Because I'm like, bitch, the stakes were too high. It's good to see them get worked, but you know, I mean, girl, they got the coins over here. I'm not with nobody. I feel like that showed your integrity, but I get it. Like I get it. Like, these motherfuckers got the money. My kids need to eat. This side ain't taking care of me. This side will. So I ain't got no other options. Let me do what I gotta do. And I think that's what she did. But yes, if y'all like documentaries, I would check it out. You know what I wanted to talk to y'all about? What do y'all think? Let's see. Thinking of Norma's battle with sexuality, the concept of coming out of the closet. Should LGBT people have to confess their sexuality to non-LGBT people? No, I don't think so. So it's a couple of ways you could think of it. No. So the flat answer to that to me is no. Yes, they did. They interviewed them a little bit, talking about her. The flat answer to that, Brandon, is no. I don't think gay people owe anybody a out loud explanation of their sexuality. But if you are intentionally hiding your sexuality, intentionally not talking about your sexuality, intentionally hiding that side of your life, you are putting yourself in a prison. You, to me, are condoning the larger culture that says that this is not okay by hiding it. To me. Do you have a right to do that? Absolutely, go for it. I think you have a right to do it. You don't have to you don't have to talk about it ever. It doesn't ever have to be disclosed. But to me, if you're not bucking up again, if you're not making it the norm, if you're not making it seem like this is okay, like gayness and queerness is okay in your day-to-day life, you are saying to me by your complacency that it is not okay. To me. I think that about stealth trans folks. Do I understand why you invest in the safety of stealthness? Absolutely. Absolutely. And I am a person that, does this too. In certain situations, if I feel unsafe, I'll keep that tea to myself. And that's okay. But in certain situations where it's not about safety, it's just about comfort. Know the difference. Comfort and safety, they're two different things. Okay? I can feel unsafe and I can feel discomfort. Unsafe is I can be harmed, killed, blah, 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 blah. Discomfort is I just don't want to have this kind of conversation. It'll make me uncomfortable. I think that it's okay when you feel unsafe, but I don't think it's okay just for your discomfort. To me, for myself, let me just say this is for myself. if I'm avoiding hard conversations, if I'm avoiding if I'm avoiding telling that I'm trans when I don't have to, just so I don't have to have hard conversations for myself, I think that that is wrong. I think that that tells the outside world and my inner world that it's not okay to be me. I want to be able to be open and free to say, I'm trans. This is who I am, share my trans experiences, blah, 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 blah. And I think queer folks, gay folks, bi folks, whoever, anybody outside of the main culture of heterosexuality, I feel that if you are hiding it intentionally, you are complacent in the fight to make it normal. You should be able to say at work, oh, I'm bringing my husband to the corporate dinner because I'm my husband, da 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 da. My husband's coming with me. And it not and it just be okay, great. It shouldn't, because it's okay to have a husband. If you're a gay man, it's okay to have a husband. If you're a gay woman, it's okay to have a wife. Like, you're saying it's okay and you're making it the norm. If you're not doing something to not make it the norm, I hope I'm explaining this right, then I think that you're being complacent and doing a disservice. I think only if you're in a relationship with someone should any of it be discussed. See, I don't think that. I think that my identity sometimes comes up in discussion. Like, for example, cisgender women, sometimes have conversations about their periods. Okay? I remember being in a conversation with a coworker about periods, like about she was discussing it was like a general conversation. It was like a general woman conversation. This has happened multiple times where she was discussing that she asked me, did I have like a pad or a tampon or something? And because she brought one or two, I can't remember, but for some reason, this particular time of her cycle, she's just more heavy than what she normally would be. And so she asked me, did I have some? And if I didn't have some, could I let her go on a break so she can go get some, so she can take care of it? And so in that conversation, when I let her go, because of course I didn't have no tampons or nothing like that. And so I let her go on break to go get some, and she came back. And then she usually takes me home after we get off of work. And so while we were going home, she was talking about the changes in her flow for some reason. And she was asking me, had I experienced that before? This is a whole day of conversation, not a continuous conversation, but like that happened where she was, I guess, overly bleeding. She needed to go to the store. And then later on, the conversation continued, and she was explaining the medication that she was taking was making her flow heavier than what it was. And then, she was having the conversation with me. Right in that moment, my transness does not have to be brought up. It doesn't have to be brought up, but it's relevant in I don't have experience with flow because I don't have a period. So in that moment, I can say, oh, no, I don't, no, my flow never gets heavy. It's the same all the time. I'm lying because I don't have a period. Or I can say nothing and just let the the conversation that she was asking me a direct question. So I'm either going to lie or or say, well, I'm trans and I don't really have a period. Like, it's either one, because it was a very direct question. And so in that moment, I chose to lie. I chose to say, what did I said, I didn't go into no detail lie. I went into, that's not really my experience. which is kind of a general, but it was intentionally general to cover. It was intentionally general to hide. I should not have to hide. Transness should be the norm. I should be like, oh no, I actually don't have a period because I'm trans. I should be able to say that freely. But in that moment, I didn't feel safe. Not safe. I didn't feel comfortable. Different between safe. I did feel safe, but I didn't feel comfortable having that conversation with her. And so that was a decision that I made. But I am in that moment, to me, I was being complacent in the oppression. I was being complacent in not making it the norm. I hope that makes sense. And so there are conversations where your transness, your identity is a part of the conversation. It's not necessarily a relationship where your transness is not important. It's like religion. It's like religion. Like you don't always need to talk about your religion. That's not something that you always have to talk about, but it's a part of your identity, and it may come up in situations with people who you're not in a relationship with. That may not be important to general public, but it might come up, and you should be free to say, I am a Muslim, I am a Christian, I am a Protestant, I am a Catholic. You should be just like we are comfortable to do that. We should be comfortable to say our sexualities. We should be comfortable to say our gender identity. I think only if you're oh, right. I think some straight people think gay people owe them the I am conversation. Yes, they do. Absolutely. I never understood why that is. Heterosexuals aren't forced to disclose or hide sexuality because they're the default. You automatically think because it's the default, they automatically think, oh, I'm straight because that's the default. It's like Christian people thinking everybody is Christian. When there are Muslims, there are tons of other religions. It is your decision if you want to share it or not. Yes, that part of them feeling like they are old, that is what I have the problem with. I am not going to hide my sexuality, but I don't owe you a damn thing. No, you don't. I get what you're saying, Diamond, but it was her choice to disclose as opposed to your prompting her for it or her feeling cornered to tell you anything. Hard to get my point across. No. I was talking about my particular position, not hers. She wanted to tell me that, but I'm talking about my particular position. Like sometimes I was just sharing that sometimes your transness could come up and be relevant in a conversation with somebody who you're not in a relationship with. You see what I'm saying? And it shouldn't be, your transness shouldn't be something that you have to hide ever. Like it should be, I know that's an idealistic world, but in situation where your safety is not at risk, why shouldn't you be able to say I'm trans to somebody you're not in a relationship with? That's what I mean. I feel like you should be able to disclose. I don't always feel comfortable enough to disclose, but I don't think I owe anything to anybody. When we talk about trans women disclosing or trans men disclosing, I think when you get to decide when to tell your medical history, you get to decide when to disclose that. Nobody else. You are the last and ultimate and final decision. I don't care who said, oh, you need to tell that up front. No, if you don't feel safe up front, don't. I just don't unnecessarily share my tea. Yeah. You know who is teaching me about, who's really calling me out? Mia. Like Mia, she's not doing it intentionally, but Mia tells her tea unnecessarily. There are times when Mia tells her tea, and I'm like, why did you tell your tea? Like, or why are you bringing up transness? Why are you? We would be in an Uber and we're talking about stuff. She'll bring it up when it's relevant, but not when it's necessary. It's not like, oh, I'm trans. It's not like that. It'll be relevant to the topic, but if it was me, I wouldn't bring it up. But I come from a different era. Mia comes from an era, well, a little bit, where she just wants it to be free. And that is a beautiful place to be. I can't say that I'm there because I'm like you. I don't really tell my tea unnecessarily. But I think that's an intentional hiding, because if I'm consciously not telling my tea because it will cause some type of transphobic response, that means I'm adjusting to that transphobia. Like I'm adjusting, like as if, okay, so if every time I come to this space, I'm Black, and I'm the kind of unrespectable Black. And every time I come to this space, I have to code switch because I know racism says that I have to sound like this in order to get what I need. We shouldn't have to code switch, even though we have to in certain situations, but we shouldn't have to code switch. Does that make sense? Like, that's what I mean. Like, it's really hard to explain. Like, we code switching to me is the same thing as hiding your teeth. Like, it's like code switching is, I'm not going to present myself in a particular way that I normally would informally because I'm in a formal situation and I'm trying to either gain something or I don't want people to look at me as this ghetto ratchet person. So I'm going to code switch and talk white. And so because I want to get this job at this interview, or I want to seem a certain way in the mix of this particular crowd. And I think the reasons why people code switch is similar to the reason why people don't tell their tea, because there might be a negative response or a negative reaction or some negative consequences that comes if you don't code switch in particular situations. And so what I'm saying is you shouldn't, idealistically, you shouldn't have to code switch. You shouldn't have to hide your tea. You shouldn't have to, every time you're trying not to get clocked, raise your voice up to a whole different octave so we can talk about so I'm not getting clocked. So if you shouldn't have to intentionally hide. You shouldn't have to. And if you are, to me, when I don't want to say you, let's say me. Let me make it personal. When I do it, I feel like I am cooning. Like I feel like I am selling out what I know is what I'm fighting for. Like I'm fighting for trans folks to be free. I am teaching and educating for trans folks to be free and not have to hide and not to have to hide their transness. And when I hide my transness, it feels like I'm selling out. It feels like I'm saying that it's not okay. It feels like I am being complacent in a fight that I should say, yes, I am trans in this situation. I'm talking, and I'm not talking about every situation. I'm talking about when it can come up, when it's when it's appropriate, when it's relevant but not necessary. Relevant but not necessary. Sometimes people, the luxury of cis het straight privilege is they can talk about things that are not necessarily relevant or relevant but unnecessary. Like, oh, I want to tell you about this. I'm joining, but them nails is giving my life. Thank you. Yay. I feel like you should be able to be open about it. Also, for the record, I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Nothing to hide, but it isn't anyone's business unless you want to share it. Yes, but usually things that we say, oh, that's not everybody's business. Those are usually things that we want to keep secret, that there's some shame around. If I'm sleeping with somebody that I want to sleep with, or if I'm doing sexual things behind closed doors that I don't want everybody to know because they might judge me, it's certain things that we talk about in terms of that's not everybody's business. And that's an absolutely true statement, but you have to really analyze those things that we say that about. Absolutely, Bankhead. You see what I'm saying? Like, usually those things, if I asked you what you ate for dinner last night, most people would never respond with, that ain't really nobody's business. No, what you ate for dinner last night is not nobody's business. For real, for real. But you don't hide it. You don't intentionally say, ooh, I don't want to tell them what I ate. Unless you on some fat shaming shit, maybe. But usually that's not something people are ashamed to share. Oh, what did you eat for dinner last night? You're not about to tell me, usually. You're not about to tell me, oh, that ain't really nobody's business. If I choose to share it, cool. We only say that kind of conversation with shameful things or things that people, and you might not be shamed about it, but you might be hiding it from the risk of hiding it because you don't want to risk being judged, like Bankhead said. You see what I'm saying? Certain conversations we intentionally hide because there are judgments that come with it. We don't say that about other stuff. Mm-hmm. And I just and to me, that's a battle of my life. I don't want to judge anybody else. I'm talking about for me. That's a battle that I have myself. That's a privilege of theirs. Yeah, I think that I battle that because sometimes I feel literally uncomfortable with myself. Like I said, Mia will be in an Uber, and I always sit in the front. Like when we're traveling with each other, like when we're doing events or whatever, I'll sit in the front. Mia and Zia sit in the back. But Mia is a chatty Cathy. And when I'm in Uber, I don't want to talk. Only people I talk to in an Uber is fine niggas. Like if you fine and you talkative, yeah, we gonna talk. But anybody else, I'm trying to be on my phone. I like a quiet ride. But Mia is chatty Cathy. She will chat. And sometimes her tea will come up and she will sometimes come. Perfect example. We were in Dallas and this guy in our Uber was listening to Joe Budden's podcast. Okay. And so Mia asked him, oh, you listen to podcasts? And he says, yes, I listen to podcasts all the time. And she was like, oh, well, we are Marsha's Play. We have a podcast. Would you like to listen to ours? Now, our podcast centers trans folks. You feel what I'm saying? So he was like, oh, y'all here for an event? Yes, we are. And, oh, well, what kind of event? An LGBT event. And then he was like, well, what's your podcast about? Trans. And Mia is telling this man about our podcast and about transness. And yes, I'm a trans woman. And that's what we talk about on our show, just about trans stuff and blah, blah, blah. And we're in the middle of this Uber. And so there was a shame. There was a visceral kind of ingrained reaction to be like, why are you telling our tea? Oh, I shouldn't have to feel like that. Now, back in the day when me and my girls was growing up, we would never tell our tea. Like it was a rite of passage to be able to walk through life and not talk about our tea. Do you see what I'm saying? It was a rite of passage for us to blend with society and everything that setting up the culture of that passability privilege. You were that girl if you could pass. And if you could not, you were not that girl. So it was creating a division within the trans community that was, if you are, which is problematic in this day and age to me, if you are not passing, you are not that girl. It almost like undermines your trans. We know that you're trans, but you're not a woman yet. When you're a woman when you pass. So that creates a division, and it's toxic. And so I come from that era. And so when somebody is telling T, I'm like, like it's a natural response for me. Like I remember I got Mia a job. We talked about this on the show. I got Mia a job at my job. And I wasn't the store manager at the time. It was another store manager. And so I told Mia, I didn't directly tell her not to tell her T because I thought she wouldn't tell it. I told Mia, come in the interview, say these specific things. You will get hired because I recommended you. All she had to do was go through the motions. This lady was going to hire her because it was through me. You feel what I'm saying? Baby, so I'm listening. I'm outside the door listening to Mia's interview. And in the interview, Mia comes out and tells her T. And I was so gagged. Like, why did you do that? For two reasons. You didn't need to tell your T. I was a manager. I wasn't a store manager, but I could have went and changed her name, I could have went to her profile and changed to where her checks come in her birth name, but her name that come on the computer is Mia. Do you see what I'm saying? So I could have we already talked about it. We had prepared for it. I was going to do all of that. And so she didn't have to worry about anything. She could have just been straight. But she went and told her T, and it gagged me. But this is what she's supposed to be able to do. Like I couldn't read. I couldn't do. This is what she should be able to be free. She should be able to be free. She should be able to. But there was a shame. Also a fear of my T. Like I was the only trans person at the time that worked at this place. And I'm like, now you done tell your T, and we gonna be Judy's in here. Is my T gonna come out? Does somebody already know my T? Like it started to be this anxiety about my T when it shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't be like that at all. So Mia caused, not intentionally, but she makes me feel uncomfortable a lot of times in a way that I shouldn't have to feel. Not her fault, but I should not be ashamed to be trans. I should not be gagged if she says it. I should not be gagged if she's in the car with me and she wants to tell her T and feel free to talk about it. I should not be gagged, but I sometimes I am, and I shouldn't have to be. She should be able to be free to do that, and I support it. And even if I support it reluctantly, I think her way is the direction that I want to go. Is the direction that I want to go with myself. You can't teach an old dog new tricks. I like kind of blending in with the world. You feel what I'm saying? So I kind of it sounds like Mia has a passion for normalizing trans. Yes, and I do too. But those type of social interactions, I haven't worked out. I haven't worked on it. But yes, she does have a passion for normalizing transness. Let's see. That mindset is so toxic. Absolutely. Good distinction. Bothers me. Mm-hmm. Listen to your podcast. I admire Mia's desire to live an authentic and open life, but sometimes you have to be realistic and read your environment and know how to protect yourself. Self-preservation. Yes, there's a realistic thing about it, and I'm not for like that's why I was making the distinction between safety and discomfort. So I don't think Mia's dumb. So I don't think Mia's gonna tell her T like that in an unsafe situation. But we were in an Uber with me her, Z, and a driver. She didn't feel unsafe to be able to tell her T. She wasn't in a situation where she could be harmed. She wasn't going to be harmed for telling her T in a car with us. So she wasn't unsafe. And so since she wasn't unsafe, why do I need to be uncomfortable about telling my T? I don't think she should have. Now, I would have been, but I don't think she should have. And so I don't think that, I think when we talk about what's real, when we talk about let's be realistic, sometimes the realistic is not the ideal, and we're just being complacent in the situation enough to keep the real situation from turning into the ideal. I hope that makes sense. Like, we can keep responding to racism. We can keep doing respectability politics and trying to prove white people that we, like, remember back in the day before the era now, where we, in order to be respected as Black people, in order to be respected as human beings, we had to dress a certain way. We had to have an exquisite level of education. We kind of like that now, but especially back in the day, we had to adhere to respectability politics in a way that we don't now. Do you see what I'm saying? There's a way that we just do not have to. They were under strict respectability politics. And that worked, but it was them trying there's a book called Stamped by Ibram X. Kendi. And he talks about, what's the word? Chronicles. Yes, chronicles. He chronicles W.E.B. Du Bois's change from The Soul of Man. I think that's his first book. I can't remember. His earlier books, where he was all about living up to the standard and trying to be this perfect Negro in regards to his scholarship, in regards to academia. But then he learns later on in his life that that actually is wrong. Like, that's us playing into the racist idea that Black folks cannot be, have to be this exquisite thing in order to be respected. That's responding to that racist idea. The Souls of Black folks. I know that's not the name, but it's something. I can't remember what the name of his early W.E.B. Du Bois early books was. Y'all look it up. Y'all should be reading Du Bois anyway. Just for the historical context. But it's something about souls. I can't remember the exact name. I'm trying to strive to prove that I'm an exceptional Negro. That is in response to the realistic state of affairs when it comes to politics around race of that time. That's not the ideal. Ideal would be, I could be whatever kind of Black and you still treat me like I'm human. And you still give me the opportunities. Do you see what I'm saying? And so they were playing to the real racism of the time. But that's not really the truth. That's not really what's real. That's not really okay. And it wasn't until years later that he was like, oh, these motherfuckers is sorry anyway. Like, I'll get all these exquisite, because Michelle Obama said this. Angela Michaela Davis said this, and I experienced this, and I know y'all experienced this. Y'all get all these degrees, or you get all these certifications, or you become the best at something. Like, think about like drag. Like, if you're a drag queen and you become the best, you're the best dancer, you can do your makeup sickening, you got the best costume. It does not matter if you're coming into a racist situation. You'll come into this situation and these motherfuckers is quite mediocre. I got all of these degrees in this education, and I'm coming in a situation with these white people who's supposed to be the elite, and I'm realizing they just stupid. They're not exquisite as I was led to believe. I was led to believe that these white people in Harvard are going to be amazing, in Princeton are going to be amazing, but they literally are not. Like, these are some mediocre, bland, unseasoned chicken ass motherfuckers. And they're literally not as good as I thought that they were going to be. But me, as a black person, to get into Princeton, to get into Harvard, to get into this space that is supposed to be the elite space, I had to be pristine. And so once I come in here with this pristine, sharpened intellect and wit and, and application, I'm realizing that they don't have what I have. I'm better than them in skill and talent and intellect. And so me trying my hardest, even though it was beneficial in the end, me trying my hardest I was trying to, like, I was responding to the racist idea that black people couldn't do it. So I was proving that they could do it. So for me, right now, when you say I'm going back to what you had said. When you talk about you have to be realistic and read your environment, yes, that is the safe, smart way to go. Yes, but that response, if you're in the context of hiding your transness in an unnecessary situation, it is smart if you're talking about safety, if you're unsafe. But I'm talking about in a situation where you could talk about your transness or you could not. If you're intentionally choosing not to talk about your transness because that you may be discomfort or that realistic, read your environment, you feel like you have to protect yourself. I'm not talking now, if you in the hood and you don't know these niggas and you could be, you with some white folks that could fire you, and if they know your teeth, that's different. I'm talking about a situation where you're not at risk. And it's just general conversation. If you're choosing in that moment to still respond to transphobia in a way to hide your transness, I think that you're doing a disservice to yourself. I think you are not pushing the envelope. You're not moving the needle. True, I get it. I'm learning. At least you realize it's something within yourself you want to work on. Absolutely. Sounds like music, passion for Norma. Being more open is freeing, but it's easy to hide and fit in. Yes, absolutely. And also hiding and fit in. Think about when we talk about girls who go stealth and who go, and hide into cis heteronormativity. Are they actually changing anything? No. If you did these amazing, great things as a trans woman and nobody knew you were trans, you didn't do nothing for us. They just thought you were a cis woman, even though you actually were, unless we find out about it. If we find out about it, then yes, it puts a needle. Look, this person, did what they did. And this is amazing. If we don't find out about it, it's not effective. It's not effective to the movement because we don't know about it. It's like, we don't know what you did. You have to know what you did. Does that make sense? We dedicate what becomes realistic and normal. Yes. We dictate what becomes realistic. Yes, absolutely. In that case, shake the table, Mia, and keep wearing your transness. Trans women are lit. Yes, honey, she stayed wearing that jacket. We went to the movie, and that's another perfect example. We went to the movies, and Mia has this denim jacket that on the back of it says "Trans women are lit," and I didn't know what it said on the back of the coat until we were at the movies in line about to buy popcorn, and I'm behind her, and I see her jacket. And I'm like, why do you have this jacket on? We're out in public in the movies. People are going to read that and clock us. What? That's what my younger inner self said. What? You're gonna get us clocked. What? Is anybody looking? Is anybody reading her jacket? Mia, why did you wear that jacket? Like everything in my mind went there. And then I said, that's Mia. She should be able to wear this jacket because guess what? Trans women are lit. So bitch, get it together. Ain't nobody gonna say shit. So I had to really intentionally make that okay for myself. I have a t-shirt that says Black Trans Lives Matter. And you know how you just throw stuff on? She did gag me with that jacket. You know how you you just throw stuff on? I had threw that t-shirt on and went to Kroger. It's a black t-shirt with white writing. And went to Kroger because I just threw it on, and because I had called a Lyft to go to Kroger, and I was in the middle of playing my game, and I had put it down, called a Lyft, and started getting dressed. But then I heard my friend on my headphones with I got Xbox on my Xbox headphones, and I was like, girl, I was like, I talked to them and they distracted me. But then my phone rang and it was the Lyft. And I was like, oh, so I went and put the shirt on. And I put the shirt on, got in the Lyft, went to Kroger's. And I was walking down the aisle. And a dude, was it a dude? No, a woman. A cis older woman. Apparently she read the shirt and it said Black Trans Lives Matter. And she says, she's walking with her cart, and she was like, oh, I love your shirt. Are you trans? And I say, I'm like, wait, I ain't got clock like this in a minute. What? This is a real quick, direct clock. I was like, bitch, what? And I was like, and I looked down at my shirt and it said Black Trans Lives Matter. And in that moment, I said, yes, I'm trans. Like real uncomfortable. And this maybe a year ago. And I was like, yes, I'm trans. And she says, yes. She was like, yes, trans lives matter. And she was like, yeah, they do matter. That is a great shirt. And I kept walking and she kept walking. And the whole time I'm in the store, I'm like, I have this Trans Lives Matter shirt on. I have this Trans Lives Matter shirt on. I have this Trans Lives Matter shirt on. Everybody's looking at the Trans Lives Matter shirt on. Everybody's looking at the Trans Lives Matter shirt on. Let me get my shit and get out of this store. Why did I put this shirt on? Trans Lives Matter shirt on. Like I couldn't shop. I couldn't shop because I have now put myself in the mindset that I have this shirt on that is going to make people look at me. And so I shouldn't, that is internalized transphobia. That is something in me that I am working on. And people because of who I am, particularly on the internet, and who I am on the internet is also who I am out in the world spaces too. But on a daily basis, I'm not on no trading power. I'm just kind of living my life. If you ask me, or if I'm on a panel, I'm at the University of Houston on a panel about LGBT rights and policy. Yes, I do that. But on my day-to-day basis, I'm not just thinking about trans. I'm a fucking multifaceted human being. So I'm not really thinking about it. And part of my safety is my passability, and it's always been like that. So I could go and, people just not know my teeth. And so me having that shirt on was quite uncomfortable. It was quite uncomfortable. And it shouldn't have been. Let's see. Like the big makeup artist that was outed. Everyone started talking about her because it gagged people. Yes, Nikki tutorials. I was funny when I first saw Nikki tutorials. There's a trans thing that happened in our brain. I think just like a gaydar, there's a transdar. My transdar went off, but I went down in her comments and didn't see anybody talking about transness, and I didn't. And she had a sickening voice. My transness, my transdar went off, but when I looked at all the other clues, it didn't say she was trans. Like when I look, because I didn't see anybody in the comments saying nothing about transness. I hadn't heard any rumors about her being trans, so I was like, oh, maybe I'm tripping. But when I first ran into her videos, my transness went off. My transdar went off, but I dismissed it. It's like, oh, that's a regular cis girl. That's a regular cis girl. That's what it is. But I was gagged when just about the scenario that I'm like, they took this long to try to blackmail you? That's weird. I really would want to know what their motivation was. That's weird to me. Do you think we should stop shaming men about their penis size and think about it in the same way as fat phobia and body shaming, or do you think that there is a difference? Is shaming men about their penis size an issue? Like, what is the is it an issue? Actually, most chicks I know are really tender about men's ego and their small penises. So is that a real thing? Do men now? I know men who are ashamed, but it's not because other people said, "Oh my God, look at your little dick." I don't think it's because of that. Um, I think it's because big penises is the ideal, and so if they don't have one, they feel shame about it. I don't think people intentionally do it, but maybe it's something that I just don't know about in the men's thing. Because I see little dick niggas always doing videos with their little dick out. So I don't know. It don't seem shame to me. Um, and the difference is penis aren't really seen. Fatness is seen immediately. You don't see people's penises. So that's why I'm like, are people really shaming people's penis size? Like on that mass of a level? Because people don't really see your penis. Unless you pull it out. But I don't know. I think there's a difference. Definitely think there's a difference. Yeah, that shirt opens discussion with a statement that absolutely. It does, and I bought the shirt for that reason. But I bought the shirt almost, and I'm not ashamed to say it. I'm keeping it real with y'all. It's almost performative. Because I knew I wasn't gonna wear the shirt out in public because of how I thought. And so that shirt is when I go on the LGBT march or go to the conference of the LGBT conference. And that it wasn't meant for the regular folks. And that's just me being honest with y'all, just being it real. And just so if you have those kind of issues, I do too. I'm not a perfect activist. I'm not a perfect person that isn't battling these things and transphobia and homophobia and anti-blackness and these things on some level. I'm battling all of that on some level. Some things are further along than others, but some things, I'm working little nuances out, and that's just keeping it real. But yeah, I wasn't planning on that shirt being worn in public. I really wasn't. Not in a public situation, like a day-to-day public. Excuse me. That's who I thought you were talking about. She's been quiet lately. I don't know the context of that statement. Um, Whenever I meet a trans sister, I go out of my way to let her know I am an ally and that she is safe with me. So I do not do that. I think it triggers people's dysphoria when you clock their T in public. Like if they felt clocky or they felt like, ooh, I'm passing, and then you clock them, that can burst a bubble. All that is late to me. So I remember this girl. She actually usually is in here on the show. Um, she was here in Houston, but she lives in Austin, and she was early. She's gorgeous, but she was early in her transition, and I knew she was trans, and so it was early in my YouTube days. I had just got some cards made, and I said, "Hey, sweetie," I gave her my card and was like, "Hey, look me up on YouTube, darling." I didn't say anything about transit. I didn't say anything about that. I just gave her a card to look me up. And my mindset was, if once she looks me up and watches me, oh, this is a trans woman. I didn't have to embarrass her in front of everybody else in the store, but I wanted her to look me up. She's a trans girl. You should be listening to Diamond Styles if you're a trans girl. Here you go. That's how I thought. Let me see. If you continue to be quiet about the movement, will never go anywhere because all the trans people want to hide in the shadows. Yes, I understand it, but I think we got to have some. It got to come to a point where you gotta be unapologetically trans. And so that's really the bottom line of what I'm saying is that I am breaking down in myself the value that I put on passing. I am breaking down because passing is rooted in cis heteronormativity. What I'm saying, if my ideal is rooted in that in cisness, then what I'm saying is transness is not okay. You have to look exactly like this if you want to be accepted. If you gotta pass, you gotta do this, this, and this if you want to be the kind of woman that I think that is a woman. So, and so for me, that sets up an internalized transphobia for me. And that is something that I am trying to dismantle in myself. That is something that I'm trying to work on an internal level. Mia is one of the culprits to help me work on that, to be unapologetically trans. And having the and I think that's the reciprocity of younger and older generation if you let it work. Like if you let it work, if you let the kids lead and the wisdom of the older people of what they've been through lead the younger people, like if that reciprocity is there, it can make the momentum. It can make it go crazy and wear shit out. And so that's what it is. I come up in a different era where it wasn't safe to walk down the street. Motherfucker could throw bottles at you and jump you. You see what I'm saying? So it wasn't safe to be in situations. But she's coming up in a different era where there's a little bit more safety, a little bit more visibility. So you could be a little bit more unapologetically trans. And I think that's beautiful. It might be a gay thing with the penis. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know about it's just being a gay thing. And the luxury of being a trans woman is that there is some overlap in community when it comes to sexuality and penises because we all share that body part. And so we're not exactly the same, but if there's a Venn diagram, there's some space that overlaps. And so I don't know about little penises be ashamed, because I know some people that don't like big old dicks, and I know some people that don't like their bottoms to have big old dicks, or don't care if they have a big dick or not, or some people don't use their dick, so it don't matter if it's big or small. I don't know. It's just weird. That's weird to say, especially something that they can hide. Yeah, especially something they can hide. I always love your videos. You're amazing. Thank you, Isabella. Nails and haircut giving me life, sis. Thank you, Polka, Miss Polk. Giving you the thick red bone. Grace Jones. I need to get it cut and shaped up. And my rainbow Pride Month nails. That's true. But when I see a trans girl, I want to say something just to let her know I see her. Yeah, I used to feel that when I was younger. Then I got older and be like, ooh, I don't want to be so clocky. So I don't want to be clocky girls and make her feel like she's clocky. Because it could be just me. Like, nobody else is clocking you, girl, but me, because I'm a trans woman and know what to look for. But I don't want to trigger that insecurity in somebody. Damn, bitch, you clocked me. How you know my T, girl? But that's also that internalized transphobia, worried about being clocked. Aria Blue Diamond, I have watched you for a few years and heard you speak about the issues with your mother. Do you think that a part of your transness serves as a maternal safe haven? Explain that a little bit more. Explain that in depth. What you mean, issues with my mother, and do you think a part of your transness serves as a maternal safe haven? I definitely don't feel that. I don't know exactly what you're talking about, but if you explain it a little bit more, I can see what issues with my mom and transness maternal safe haven. Explain that. Yes, I've been watching you since I was 16, 17. And come on, baby. How old are you now, Brittany? I love to hear that. I love to hear people who've been listening to me since they were babies, since they were teens, and now they grown folks. I love that. That's so beautiful. I hope I taught you something to help you get through some situations that I didn't have help getting through when I was that age. I mean, it's mostly in the mind, career field. These messages retracted. But I don't want to create safe space for anyone. But I do want to create safe space for anyone I encounter, but especially in the criminal justice field. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I think it's safe. Yes, come on, 29. So you've been with me for a long time. Yeah, about 12 years. Yeah. Let's see. I think in your bankhead, I think that if you're in a career field and a trans person come in and you're trying to help them out in that field, I think that you should let them know. And yeah, say, here, I'm an ally, so you safe in the situation. Yeah, I think I did. I do like when I have an ally in a workforce. I do love that. You don't have to let everyone know your personal business. You have the right to express when and where you want to. Yeah, we talked about that earlier. Brittany, I miss your story time. They used to be so juicy. Yeah, I really haven't. You know what? I haven't had any stories because I haven't really been doing much. My life revolved around activism. I've been single since I think the last man that I had that y'all know of, that I had, period. I've dated a couple of people, but nothing serious. Was Jamarcus, the one that was in the Angry Birds video. That was the last relationship I had. And once we were done, I'm in a situation where I'm probably turning into an old maid, like an old cat lady without the cats. Because I have no desire I don't have the patience to work on a relationship with a man. I would love to have a dude because I like, the romance and relationship of that. But the figuring out if you a chaser, figuring out if you just all about sex and objectification, figuring out how you've been maneuvering in these streets, um, showing you how to show up for me. That's in a healthy way. All that shit, I just don't have the patience for. Let me just stick with the people that I've been fucking with and deal with that. That's so much. Yeah, that's what it is. I just haven't been dealing with niggas. um, yeah, a lot of men are insecure about their size of their penis. Yes, but I do believe that there are a lot of men who are insecure about it, but because they can hide their penis, that's an internal thing. I don't think we are doing that. I don't think the culture is doing that on purpose, like intentional, where women are looked at you in sweatpants and trying to find a bulge. That's normal. that's being that's being able to see you trying to see what that dick is giving. Especially if it's important to you. Like I'm a size queen. Like it's important. Size is important to me. So not important to the point where you can't be average, but you can't be small. Yeah. It's just what it is. Nah, they're 50 and thriving. Yep, started watching you around 19 and now I'm 30. You are auntie I never had. Come on. I know that's right. I love it. Oh my God, you taught me so much. You have no idea. Hey, I've been watching you since I was 20. I'm 29 now. That's what I'm talking about. I miss the love below, and I've been watching you since I was 19. Hey, come on, y'all 30-year-olds. Come on. Y'all like Mia. Mia started watching me when she just turned 30. That's exactly Mia. Mia started watching me in high school. Also, your chromosome video helped me realize my husband has Klinefelters. Come on, out here doing the work, letting folks, doing the work, teaching people how to go get their husbands checked out. Dami, you get some drama in your life. You need some story times. I know. Yeah, I'll literally for the past, I want to say 8 years. Shit. Yeah, since 2012, I literally have worked for Bath and Body Works, so that took up most of my time. Activism. The dudes I have been messing with for the past 10 years, I have been messing with them for years, like since I moved to Houston. The same 3 dudes. And I rotate them out. And it's not no relationship. It's friendship, hang out, fuck, and go home. That's just what it is. But yeah, it's no problem. Angry Bird, so it was a good one. I love you. Oh, thank you. Today kind of felt like depression, being a young trans woman that never had a boyfriend as trans and kind of feel like love is hopeless. No one talks about the loneliness. So let's talk about it, okay? Right now in my current form, I can't tell you that I get lonely. I don't get lonely. I can't tell you what cured that. I think it just was me getting comfortable with myself. I think you can be alone and happy. There's a difference between alone and lonely. So I know that I'm alone and I would like to have a companion, but I'm not lonely because I don't know. I'm just comfortable with myself. Like my needs. It used to be when I was younger, men were a part of my need. Men were a part of my validation. Men were a part of Men were a part of my validation. They are a part of what I felt was successful in my life. Like, if you didn't have a man, what kind of woman were you? If you didn't have a man, then that means you weren't beautiful. If that means you weren't wife material. That means you weren't passable. That means you weren't good enough. That means if you having somebody to pick you as their partner, that was like the litmus test of womanhood for me, because that's how the women were in my life. They had men, they had relationships, they were booed up with people. So you having a man, that was a part of your womanhood. And so my early relationships was really about establishing that. But they were so unhealthy and so not unhealthy. Some of them weren't unhealthy initially. But they were such strict rules about how they needed to be. For example, when I was in my old city in Indianapolis, I did not date men from my city. They had to be from another place, because I didn't want any girls in my city saying that they had my man. So all my men were from other places. Now think about a bitch looking for men who were not in her city. How you gonna find a man, girl, if you always in your city and don't travel? I did, but because I was traveling. But for me, every man that I had in my early 20s was not from Indianapolis when I lived in Indianapolis. So it just was, that was a strict situation. We had to be playing. You had to live with me. We had to be playing house. Basically living together, paying bills together. That was what it was. And those was the rules. Faithful, monogamy. Even early on, doing no kind of extras. Like, strictly only having sex a certain way, because that's the straight way to have sex, even though we both got penises. Anyway, that's the straight cis heteronormative way to have sex. So we only are doing these things, even though I was sacrificing my pleasure and wasn't being pleased on a certain level, because I had all these rules around sex and what we were supposed to do and what we couldn't do. Even though I wanted to explore outside of those boxes, but I didn't, because I didn't want to ruin the relationship. I didn't want to make him feel gay. So I had all of these boxes, and I just wasn't happy. I wasn't happy. I wasn't satisfied. I was loved hard in one of the relationships, absolutely. But then it just turned into something else. But as I got older, my needs started to be fulfilled elsewhere. Like what I strived for, I started to have purpose. But you all watched that in me. So understand that I have evolved from the time that I first started doing videos. I have evolved into a purpose in my life. And so when I first started YouTube, it was really a journal. Coming to YouTube, I was literally homeless coming from Mississippi to Houston. I started YouTube February 28th of my birthday, February 28th of 2008. I was homeless in Mississippi with $57 in my pocket. November of 2007. Okay? So from November 2007 until February 2008, I was struggling. Y'all were seeing me when I was coming up out of a struggle. When I started YouTube, I was coming up out of homelessness and had got my own apartment, and I had got a Logitech motherfucking camera, and I had discovered Black Gay Chat, discovered YouTube, discovered XTube, because I'm alone in Houston by myself in my apartment, I'm discovering all these sites. And so I realized YouTube was about videos. I had searched I had searched trans stuff, and all I was seeing was this many months on estrogen, this surgery, this month with it. Only girls, I was finding a lot of white girls. I was finding Grishno. I was finding what's her name? Carmetic 10. I think it's Carmetic 1010. Her name is Jess. She's a friend now. Jess. A lot of white girls. There was T.S. Sexy Chanel. But she was being kind of weird. There was nobody talking about a Black girl trans experience outside of. Nobody was talking about a trans experience in regards to life experiences. I had been trans for so many years by that time. I had been in the game already for 10 years. You see what I'm saying? So being on hormones, motherfuckers talk about they a year on hormones. I'm like, bitch, I've been on hormones for years. So I had transitioned early. So by the time I come to the YouTube era, what the girls were talking about on YouTube to me, not that it wasn't important, it was superficial to me. It was about surgeries and hormones and all the physical stuff. What I felt like I was bringing to the table unintentionally was I am talking about life experiences as a trans woman with your family, engaging with society, life experiences. And I'm not saying nobody else was doing it, but when I was looking for stuff, nobody was doing it. Everything was about the physical part of their trances for me. Everything that I served up, they was, or the, and even, then that's still the physical, or looking sickening, like putting makeup on right, having the right wig, and doing Beyonce videos, and look, it was all about performing womanhood. It was not about the gritty life experiences of a trans woman, particularly a Black trans woman, a Black hood trans woman. You know, it just was a different type of atmosphere. And so for me, what y'all saw is me evolving into a purpose. I evolved into a purpose. I didn't know what that purpose was when y'all first started watching me. But my purpose now, you know, is push the culture in a direction where trans folks can be safe. And getting connected to people who were doing the work, who can invest in me doing the work. And that's what happened within these past 10, 12 years, is y'all have watched me evolve into a purpose. And so once I found that purpose, that becomes my my standard. That's my litmus test. Like, am I out here doing culturally conscious movement work? It's no longer niggas. It's no longer, when I do projects that push the culture forward, or with collabs with people that push the culture forward, that's what I'm caring about now in this current form of my life. Niggas, I just want to get a nut from them. Like, they don't, would I want a relationship? Absolutely. But there no longer are a high point in my checklist of what I need. They're just what I want. It used to be a need. So I'm not lonely. When I want male company, I get on my phone and say, hey, what you doing, big head? What's up? What you doing tonight? Come through. So, but I remember a time when I was younger, and it was a level of loneliness. Right. What you doing, big head? Right. It was a level of loneliness, especially when I was an escort. The money was great, and there was a metamorphosis that was happening in my escort days too, where I was getting comfortable with my body. But men constantly objectifying you, and you cannot have real connection with people outside of sexuality. Even though that's enough now, it was not enough for me when I was younger, because I wanted the relationship. You see what I'm saying? I wanted the relationship. So because I was striving for that, niggas would disappoint me. So when you disappoint me, and I'm like, it kind of irks my self-esteem, and I'm like, God, am I not good enough for a relationship? And I was doing that kind of trans equivalent to being the exceptional Negro. I was trying to be the exceptional trans woman. I was trying to be the girl who I didn't want to be an escort because that's what all the girls was doing, prostituting. I want to be, the girl with the degrees and the job. So I was trying to be this exceptional trans girl with the degrees and the job. I had intellect. I wasn't just dumb. I was pretty. I was passable. I was, these were the things that I thought that qualified me for love. That qualified me for me to be worth somebody's time and investment. And usually men don't give a fuck. You're a trans woman. I want to get my dick sucked. I want to fuck you with your booty hole. So what kind of lies do I need to tell you to get my dick sucked and fuck you with your booty hole? That's what it was. And so that's what they was on. And so you constantly trying to weed through the trash. And then there's some good looking ass trash. There's some sparkly ass trash. There's some trash that looks like it might be appealing. That looks like it might be, not trash, but it is. And so it got to the point where I was just tired of digging through the trash. And then and eventually luckily, that's when my ideas of my purpose started to change, and my ideas of what was my needs and what was my wants. Do I want a relationship? Absolutely. But do I need one? No, I don't need one. I don't feel lonely at home. When I feel like I need to cuddle, I can call a man and I can have a whole honeymoon up in this motherfucker. I can cook for him. We can talk and have intellectual, because my fuck buddies are intellectuals. So I can get all I need. That's what me and my I have a quote unquote tranny chaser friend. And he lives in New York, and we've been friends since like 2004. And he was like an early tranny chaser that I knew, but we just never fell out. You know how I knew he was a chaser. I knew that's what you were. But he was also funny as hell and an intellectual. And so we only hooked up once. And I always call him a stain on my white cloth, because I always say, I ain't messing with no tranny chasers for free. Tranny chasers pay me. You the only motherfucker that I fucked with. That you a stain on my cloth. You the only motherfucker that I fuck with that's a clear tranny chaser that I didn't charge. And so we kind of got that running joke with us. And we were talking actually this morning, and he was telling me about this girl that he likes now. And he's getting of that age where he wants to settle down. Like, he's getting out of the chaser stage and into the love. I'm trying to find the girls, but girl, they all prostitutes now. And do I want to turn into trick mode, or do I want to turn into husband mode? So we laughing and joking about that. And in our situation, I told him that we both are at that age where it's time to put up or shut up. You either want it or you don't want it, or you're not going to have it. You either want to put the work in. And so for me, I don't have the patience to put the work in. Like, niggas hit me up like on dating sites, and I'll be like, niggas flirt with me out in public. I'm married. I technically am, but I'm married, girl. No, thank you. I dust niggas down. Like, I've been on dates, but dates with people who I want to see if I want to fuck them. It's not meant to grow into something else. I haven't been in a situation where I wanted to grow into something else. And if I ever do, I feel like the dude has to be really aggressive. They have to be like, yo, you was not going to flip me off. You be in being my friend. You have to be my friend first. You get what I'm saying? I'm just not at that level where I want to work on relationship. Let me scroll up and see where folks is at. I'm mad BBW never put candles on sale during the pandemic and charged $6 for shipping. Fail. Well, I don't know. Oh, they're all closing now, darling. All right, Coco. Bye bye. Do you miss anything about escorting? I miss the travel. In regard to escorting. Um, do you prefer the quote on quote regular Bath and Body Works job? I like the consistency of the regular 9 to 5 job. Um, I remember I like maybe a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago, I had went somewhere and I was there gonna be there. I was there for an activist type job and I was there for 4 days and the work was on the first day and I had 3 days free, like a free hotel. And I had put an ad up, child, just to see if I could make some quick money. Child, those calls that I was getting so many calls, and just the conversation of them niggas annoyed me. I didn't want everything that I could deal with when I was younger in escorting. I was so annoyed. The negotiation, that's the part they're gonna call and negotiate and nickel and dime. And I come from a different era of escorting. These bitches out here fucking for $100 and $80 and $60 on the internet. That ain't my ministry. That wasn't my escort ministry. We was in the upper, we was 250, 300. 150 was the low for the half hour rate. We'll hit a $500 lick if we travel to a state, where we can, upcharge you when you get there. It's kind of like, it was cute, like it was worth it. But now bitches fucking for 40s and 80s and 60s and 100. And the niggas is calling, offering, all I got is 60. All I got is 80. Bitch, get off my phone. So all that, escort business done changed. All the street hoes done came on the internet. All the butch queens getting up in drag just to make a coin. So it's mudding the water. Yeah. Escorting now it's just different from when I came up. Let me see. Yes, Diamond, you have impacted all of our lives and helped us so much without even knowing. Thank you. I don't have to run behind men who aren't even comfortable being open. Yeah, I don't have time either, girl. Relationships are way too glorified. Being single allows you to progress in life, absolutely. In a way where you comfortable move in life. A relationship can hinder you if you're not with the suitable energy. Absolutely. That's another thing. Like every time I'm in a relationship, my productivity go down. Like I feel like my hustle game ain't on. I need somebody that is either in the work with me, or that's why I was playing with the idea with being with a trans man. Because I felt like we could be in the work together, but then I see some of the relationships, and I'm like, I don't know. I like Mia and Z's, but other people's, I'm like, I don't know if I like this. Let me see. Yes, Diamond, you have evolved in many facets of your journey. Amazing woman. Thank you. I see your point. What you doing, big head? Yeah, you look fabulous. Hey, thank you. Yes, I'm an escort and young, and guys annoy me the fuck out of me, and I don't know how even interact with men in public anymore. Yeah, it's totally different, especially at my age. I'm 39. I'll be 40 next year. At my age, niggas got kids. Like it's different than when I was younger. Younger, we were kind of coming up, but now niggas my age, they either got kids and they done had a wife. If they single, they done had a wife and divorced, and now they got kids. Or it's very few men my age who don't have children. That's number one. Which I don't mind because I'd rather you have children than expecting them from me. But then that's another weird conversation. Um, 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 what else? It's just men. Also, like niggas my age, like there's tranny chasers that I be like, nigga, you've been out here so long now. Everybody done fucking had your motherfucking ass. And so yeah, you a trans amorous man now. Cause you done ran the streets so much, everybody had you and everybody trying to fuck with you. Don't come over here, nigga. I run into dudes like that. It's just different. It's just strange. Um Exactly. The disappointment parts truly are learning moments in pertaining to the expectation we have from men. You realize the fantasy of the whole game is just the fantasy, yes. Hey Diamond, am I late? Yeah, we about to come. I'm about to, yeah, it's 2 hours. I'm about to shut it down, Stephanie. Sunshine girl. Do you think your past experience made you feel that way? Remove hearing about your husband or fiance. You remember hearing about your husband or fiance and other family. That story was a gag. Absolutely, yeah. Um, that was a part of it. That was a part of it, but that wasn't the whole. That ain't the whole part of it. That's a part of it. Yes. Do you get into astrology or alchemy? A little bit. I have to with Ifa. This guy called me talking about he had $40 and some gas. I laughed in his face and I'm going, girl, get out of here, $40. What bill does $40 pay? You think I'm out here fucking niggas to not pay my bills? What the fuck? So I'm having you come and deal with your ass that I don't know for some money that's not gonna pay my bills? $40. What is 40? A cricket phone? It doesn't even pay for a cricket phone. Cause I thought cricket was like 50 something. Girl, get out of here. Um, I love how you distinguish your relationship with you from with men, particularly the men you have dealt with and continue to. Yeah, I know we passed Miss Roe, but did you think the topic of abortion would have much tension if men got pregnant? I think it would be totally different. I think if everybody got pregnant, it would be we would be having Medicare for all. Girl, I know that you speak on your maturing years like you ready to walk with a granny stick. You are still young. Um, no. I don't feel old. I don't feel young. I'm in that middle ground. Like I'm not an elder, but I'm not a young spring chicken either. I'm almost 40. I think that is middle. That's the middle of the ground. You see what I'm saying? Like that's middle. So I don't feel old, but I don't feel young. I don't feel young at all. Especially what I've been through. I done been through shit, motherfuckers. I done been through 3 lives of shit for motherfuckers. So I done been through a lot and had a lot of experiences in my almost 40 years. But yeah, I'm not young, but I'm not old either. So yeah, I don't feel old. Let's see. I definitely can't get my nails done for $40. I can't even get a. Oh yeah, I can get the one that the pedicure that I get is 45. So I would need to add $5, but there's one under it if you don't get the paraffin. Or if you don't get the massager, I can't remember. That's like 35. Girl, I can get honey, I can get somebody else to pay for some, somebody I already fucked that I don't have to fuck. A regular client. If I hit up a regular client, hey, can you cash at me some money to get my toes done? I don't even gotta fuck you for that $40. I can get a regular client to send me that. Why I'm fucking you for $40? You look good. Natural now. Thank you. Sometimes I'll give you that. Season 2 of Pose is on Netflix. March of Play has a review for each episode, y'all. Y'all show love. Yes, I do. Check out March's Play. So, yes, we are coming to the end. It is 2 hours and 9 minutes. So, we just did an episode yesterday on the show. So, make sure y'all go check it out. What else? I told y'all about Spotify. We're doing a Pride event for Spotify. Oh, no, I'll save that for next week's show. Somebody sent me a crazy ass message, and I had to read her, but not read her in a like, bitch, not that, but read her in a professional way. I am so tired of people, because it's Pride Month, thinking that they don't need a budget to invite us to shit, to do labor for them. Y'all are whole big ass companies. Y'all should have a budget for Pride. Instead of catering to us for free, trying to get us to do work for free, have a budget and have some coins ready to give to us if you asking us to be on your platform. That is so annoying. I had to read her, and I'm going to read the email exchange back and forth. It didn't get ugly at all, but it was a lesson that I want to share on the podcast next week, so I'll read it then. But yes, thank y'all for joining me. I know we went in another direction of Roe, aka Roe versus Wade. I'm going to change the title of this. But thank y'all for participating. Thank y'all for what y'all want to talk about next week? Definitely, exposure ain't paid not one bill. Yes, we're going to talk about. I try to avoid talking about deaths. That's so. I put it up. I'll put pictures up on my Instagram, but I'm so over folks dying. It seems like overkill. It seems like I don't have to really talk about it because everybody is making posts about it and being performative trans allies and trans activists, being quick to create a post about folks dying. I don't like doing that. I'm so annoyed. Yes, all my lives, I keep them up, and they're usually in a playlist of live shows. So yes. Marsha's Plate, we do record live, and I put the video up on our Patreon. I put the show up for free for you to see, but the actual video, the uncut, uncensored version of the show, because a lot of stuff is cut out. You know, when Mia's saying, Diamond, please cut that out, the part that she wants to cut out, the real negative stuff, or me saying names of motherfuckers that I don't like and get on my nerves. I cut a lot of the messy shit out, but on Patreon, if you become a patron, that's where we are going to put the actual video of us recording there on our Patreon. So yes, that's there. What else? But the regular show, of course, is still going to be free for whoever is listening, so you can listen to the regular show. But if you want the visual and you want the uncut, because I don't even edit it, I just post it up with all the mistakes, just so y'all can hear how the conversation really goes. Because Mia is a key. But yes, all right, y'all. So I will talk to y'all next Friday, or probably you heard of Lisa Fisher? Of course, the singer, absolutely. How can I ease the pain, Lisa Fisher? I do kind of look like Lisa Fisher now. Yes. Yeah, I know Lisa Fisher. But yes, make sure y'all subscribe. Make sure y'all click the notification button so y'all can get a notification of when I go live and when I upload videos. And yeah, so I will see y'all next week, or if I do a random live sometimes, I'll see y'all next week at same time, 7 o'clock Friday. Okay.